Imagine a world where the shared dreams and aspirations of millions come together to form a powerful movement, one that transcends borders and unites people under a common cause. This is the story of Pan-Africanism, a movement that has shaped the destiny of Africa and its diaspora, weaving a tapestry of solidarity, resilience, and hope. Pan-Africanism is not merely a historical concept, but a living, evolving ideology that continues to influence the social, political, and cultural landscapes across the African continent and beyond. Pan-Africanism's roots lie in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, during a time when Africans and the African diaspora faced severe impacts of colonialism and racial discrimination. Early Pan-African thinkers and activists, often members of the African diaspora, experienced racism firsthand in the Americas and Europe. They sought to address these injustices, advocating for the rights and freedoms of people of African descent. One of the earliest expressions of Pan-Africanism was the establishment of the African Association in 1897 by Trinidadian lawyer Henry Sylvester Williams. This organization laid the groundwork for subsequent Pan-African activities, culminating in the first Pan-African Conference in London in 1900, which marked a significant step in forming a collective African identity and the global struggle for African rights. The first Pan-African Conference attracted a diverse group of attendees from Africa, the Caribbean, and the United States, who gathered to discuss the common plight of Africans and people of African descent. This conference called for the end of racial discrimination and colonial rule, setting the stage for future Pan-African congresses and movements. It highlighted the shared experiences and struggles of African people, emphasizing the need for unity and solidarity in the face of oppression. As the 20th century progressed, Pan-Africanism gained momentum and evolved through various stages, with key figures emerging to shape the movement and advance its goals. Webb Du Bois, an influential African-American scholar and activist, organized several Pan-African congresses, starting with the Second Pan-African Congress in 1919, aimed at addressing colonial exploitation and advocating for political rights and self-determination. Du Bois believed in the power of education and intellectual discourse to bring about change. His efforts to convene Pan-African congresses provided a platform for dialogue and collaboration among African leaders and intellectuals, fostering a sense of shared purpose and collective action. Marcus Garvey, a Jamaican-born activist, founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, in 1914, promoting African pride and self-reliance through his Back to Africa movement. Garvey's vision was to unite all people of African descent under a common identity and purpose. He advocated for economic independence and the establishment of a strong African homeland. Garvey's charismatic leadership and powerful rhetoric inspired millions, and his ideas of self-reliance and pride in African heritage continue to resonate today. Kwame Nkrumah, the first Prime Minister and President of Ghana, envisioned a united Africa and convened the All-African Peoples Conference in 1958, bringing together leaders from across the continent. Nkrumah's vision of a united Africa was instrumental in shaping the goals of the Pan-African movement. He saw African unity as essential to overcoming the legacies of colonialism and achieving true independence and development. Nkrumah's advocacy for political and economic integration among African states laid the foundation for the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, in 1963. Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, played a key role in establishing the OAU, promoting solidarity and cooperation among African nations. Selassie's leadership and commitment to African unity were crucial in the formation of the OAU, which aimed to defend the sovereignty of African states, promote economic and social development, and eradicate colonialism and apartheid. The OAU, now the African Union, AU, continues to uphold these principles, working towards greater political and economic integration among African states. The Pan-African movement significantly influenced Africa's political landscape, contributing to the wave of independence movements that swept across the continent in the mid-20th century. Pan-Africanism provided a framework for resistance against colonial rule and inspired African leaders and activists to pursue self-determination and sovereignty. The establishment of the OAU was a direct result of Pan-African ideals The OAU played a crucial role in supporting liberation movements across the continent, providing political and material support to anti-colonial struggles in countries like Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. Culturally and intellectually, Pan-Africanism fostered solidarity among Africans and the diaspora, emphasizing the importance of African identity, heritage, and pride. This cultural renaissance countered the dehumanizing narratives perpetuated by colonialism and racism, contributing to a shared African consciousness and a collective effort to reclaim and celebrate African history, traditions, and achievements. Pan-African cultural movements, such as the Harlem Renaissance and Negritude, celebrated African art, literature, and music, highlighting the richness and diversity of African cultures. While the formal colonial period has ended, Pan-Africanism's principles remain relevant in addressing contemporary challenges faced by African nations and the global African diaspora. Economic inequality, political instability, and social injustice continue to affect the continent, and Pan-African ideals offer a framework for collective action and solidarity. The African Union, AU, continues to uphold the legacy of Pan-Africanism, working towards greater political and economic integration among African states. Initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, promote intra-African trade and economic development, reflecting the enduring vision of a united and prosperous Africa. In the diaspora, Pan-Africanism continues to inspire movements for racial justice, cultural pride, and social change. The global Black Lives Matter movement resonates with the principles of Pan-African solidarity and the fight against systemic racism and oppression. Pan-Africanism, with its rich history and enduring vision, has played a transformative role in the quest for African unity and independence. From its origins in the late 19th century to its impact on the liberation movements of the 20th century and its continued relevance today, Pan-Africanism represents a powerful and unifying force. As Africa and its diaspora continue to navigate complex global challenges, the ideals of Pan-Africanism provide a timeless foundation for solidarity, resilience, and collective progress. The Pan-African movement also paved the way for significant cultural exchanges and intellectual collaborations between Africa and its diaspora. Prominent African intellectuals and artists, such as Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka, and Leopold Sédar Senghor, engaged in dialogues with their counterparts in the diaspora, enriching the cultural and intellectual landscape. These exchanges fostered a deeper understanding of the shared histories and struggles of people of African descent, strengthening the bonds of solidarity and cooperation. Pan-Africanism has also played a critical role in addressing economic challenges faced by African nations. The movement's emphasis on economic self-reliance and cooperation has inspired various regional economic initiatives to promote sustainable development and reduce dependence on foreign aid. The establishment of the African Development Bank, AFDB, and the new Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD, are examples of Pan-African efforts to achieve economic growth and development through regional cooperation and integration. In recent years, the African Union, AU, has undertaken several initiatives to further the goals of Pan-Africanism. The AU's Agenda 2063, a strategic framework for the continent's socio-economic transformation, envisions an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa driven by its citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. This ambitious agenda aligns with the Pan-African ideals of unity, self-reliance, and collective progress, emphasizing the need for inclusive and sustainable development. One of the key components of Agenda 2063 is the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, which aims to create a single continental market for goods and services with free movement of businesspersons and investments. By promoting intra-African trade and economic integration, AfCFTA seeks to unlock the continent's economic potential and enhance its competitiveness in the global market. This initiative reflects the Pan-African vision of economic self-reliance and cooperation, addressing the economic disparities that have long hindered Africa's development. Pan-Africanism also emphasizes the importance of education and intellectual development as tools for empowerment and progress. The movement has inspired various educational initiatives aimed at improving access to quality education and fostering a culture of innovation and critical thinking. The establishment of institutions such as the Pan-African University and the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, AIMS, exemplifies Pan-African efforts to promote excellence in education and research, nurturing the next generation of African leaders and thinkers. Moreover, Pan-Africanism has significantly influenced the realm of arts and culture, encouraging the preservation and promotion of African cultural heritage. The movement has inspired a renaissance of African art, literature, music, and film, celebrating the continent's rich cultural diversity and challenging stereotypes perpetuated by colonial narratives. Pan-African cultural festivals, such as Festac and Fespaco, provide platforms for African artists to showcase their talents and engage with global audiences, fostering a greater appreciation of African cultural contributions. The Pan-African movement's impact on political activism and social justice cannot be overstated. Pan-African ideals have inspired generations of activists to fight against racial discrimination, inequality, and injustice, both within Africa and in the diaspora. The global anti-apartheid movement, which played a crucial role in dismantling the apartheid regime in South Africa, was deeply rooted in Pan-African solidarity and collaboration. Similarly, contemporary movements for racial justice, such as Black Lives Matter, draw inspiration from the principles of Pan-Africanism, advocating for the rights and dignity of people of African descent worldwide. In the digital age, Pan-Africanism has found new avenues for expression and activism. Social media and digital platforms have enabled Africans and the diaspora to connect, share ideas, and mobilize for social change on an unprecedented scale. Online communities and initiatives, such as the African Diaspora Network and Afrocentric social media movements, continue to promote Pan-African ideals and foster a sense of global African unity. As Africa and its diaspora continue to navigate complex global challenges, the principles of Pan-Africanism remain as relevant as ever. The movement's emphasis on unity, self-reliance, and collective progress provides a powerful framework for addressing contemporary issues such as economic inequality, political instability, and social injustice. By drawing on the rich legacy of Pan-Africanism, Africans and the diaspora can work together to build a more just, equitable, and prosperous future for all people of African descent. Pan-Africanism, with its enduring vision and transformative impact, has played a crucial role in shaping the course of African history and continues to inspire efforts towards unity, independence, and progress. From its origins in the late 19th century to its influence on the liberation movements of the 20th century and its ongoing relevance today, Pan-Africanism represents a powerful and unifying force that transcends borders and connects people of African descent across the globe. As we look to the future, the ideals of Pan-Africanism offer a timeless foundation for solidarity, resilience, and collective action, guiding the quest for a brighter and more unified African future.